This looks really good. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei mizonos. Yeah. That's a good cookie. Hello, my pals. Coming to you live from the Upper West Side, New York City. Who's in the house? Remember, when you tell us where you're tuning in from, when you comment, when you say hello, tell us your city, your continent, your country. You're signaling, this cookie's so rich. You're signaling to Facebook that the class we're about to have together is something valuable. We're lighting up the social media darkness. Communicate to Facebook that this is a thing of value by commenting. Ivan Bauman, cookie! I feel like a cookie monster. I want to keep eating that cookie. Ed Berg, I'm near you, across the Hudson River. In New Jersey, John is in Memphis. Jeff Brown, the ATL in the house. Christo's got Lubbock in the house. Peter's got Miami in the house. Jamie from Maple Shade, New Jersey. You know, I grew up in Rockland County. I know a lot of towns in New Jersey. I used to race bicycles back in the 80s, and all the races were in New Jersey, so I got to know a lot of towns, but I never heard of Maple Shade. So great to have Maple Shade in the house. Ivan's in Vegas. Owen says hi from New York. Beautiful. And John has shared our class with his Daf class. Beautiful. Nina's in the house from LA, so she's going to share us into the forum. If you haven't already joined the forum, you should join, and that way you're much more likely to see all our posts since you can't see everything in your Facebook feed. But the Accidental Talmudist Forum is a Facebook group, and that greatly increases your chances, signals to Facebook that you want to see our stuff. Hello, Paula from Chicago and Robin from Birmingham, Alabama. My pals, you should definitely spread the word of what we're going to learn tonight. This daf that we're going to go into, this page from the Talmud, page 17 of the first volume of the Talmud in Berachos, is a spectacular daf. It is just gorgeous. We have so many beautiful, spectacularly beautiful teachings. It's almost a shame that so many of them are on one page. It would be better to spread these out. We could study these teachings for a week, for a month. Honestly, we could spend a year on the teachings that we're going to share tonight. We can't do that, so buckle your seatbelts, folks. Wisdom is coming fast tonight. All right, let's get into it. All right, so what's happening here is we've been studying. We're going to complete chapter 2 of Berachos tonight, and we've been talking about how to handle certain interruptions when we're saying the Shema prayer. What happens if somebody greets you when you're praying? What happens if you're distracted? What happens if you realize that you've been sort of on autopilot and that you might have made a mistake, etc. These have been the kinds of teachings we've been addressing. And now, sort of as an afterthought, the Gemara is going to include personal prayers of the sages, right? So when they're praying, when they're fulfilling their obligation of the sort of prescribed prayer, the Shema, and the rabbinically prescribed prayer sort of assembled by the sages, that we're going to address more later in the tractate, the Amidah, the Shemona Esrei. In addition to that, because you have to have personal prayer, right? We are always encouraged to speak personally with God and tell him what we're really thinking, what we wish, what we want. You know, when we pray for others, it's considered a worthier prayer. So in addition to praying for ourselves and what we need, we also, we want to pray that we become a more menshy person so that we're a blessing to those around us. And we want to directly pray for the people that we care about and for our communities. And so now we're going to cover how some of the great sages worded their own personal prayers for themselves and for their community. And listening in is essentially sort of listening in on the private prayer of our sages. It's just so beautiful, so inspiring, and so instructive. So let's tune in as our sages share what some of the great sages would pray in their own personal devotions. Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi would say, right, after he completed his obligatory prayers, he would say, after his prayer, Rabbi Yehuda Hanasi said the following, "May it be your will, Lord our God and God of our forefathers, that you save us from the arrogant and from arrogance in general." You know, this prayer got added into the prayer book. And in my translation that I read every day, it says, "Save me from the brazen-faced and from brazen-facedness," right? So people who are just so, so tactless and so arrogant as just to sort of be demanding and, vulgar and arrogant and, just be all about themselves, right? So we want to be saved from dealing with those people, and we want to be saved from being those people, right? And so that's what this prayer of Yehuda Hanasi, who compiled the Mishnah, this one got added to most prayer books. So may it be your will, Lord our God, God of our forefathers, that you save us from the arrogant and from arrogance in general, from a bad man and from a bad mishap, from an evil instinct and from a bad companion, from a bad neighbor, from the destructive Satan, from a harsh trial and from a harsh opponent, whether he is a member of the covenant, meaning a Jew, or whether he is not a member of the covenant. So he's really praying to be saved from all manner of challenging situations, right? He's just, save me from coming into the grips of wicked people. Save me from having to deal with difficult, arrogant, annoying people that are going to drive me off course, right? In my work to become a better human being. And save me from myself, right? Save me from temptation. Save me from my own evil inclination. Save me from the Satan, right? The prosecutor, as it were. Sometimes the Satan means, the angel appointed by God to prosecute cases against us. And sometimes it's a little bit more metaphorical, and we're talking about saving ourselves from our own evil inclination. So both are referenced here. That's Yehuda Hanasi. Mar, the son of Ravina, when he would conclude his prayer, he said the following. Now, this particular prayer has been added to every Jewish prayer book. It is said at the end of the main prayer, the Amidah, right, the 18 blessings, the Shemona Esrei. And this has just become part of the liturgy. It's just included in all different streams of Judaism. This is standard stuff, and it comes from the sage Mar, the son of Ravina. He would conclude his prayer, and he said, "My God, guard my tongue from evil and my lips from speaking deceit. To those who curse me, let my soul be silent. And may my soul be like dust to all. Open my heart to your Torah, and may my soul pursue your commandments. And save me from a bad mishap, from the evil inclination." This one's not, it gets reworded in certain cases. It's funny, this I have not seen it put quite this way. "From a bad woman, and from all evils that suddenly come upon the world, and all who plan evil against me. Swiftly thwart their counsel and frustrate their plans. May the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart find favor before you, Lord, my rock and my redeemer." The way I always have it worded is, "O Lord, guard my tongue from evil and my lips from speaking guile. And to those who slander me, let me pay no heed. May my soul be lowly and humble and forgiving to everybody. Open my heart to your Torah, that I will pursue your mitzvahs, etc. So it's worded a little bit differently. But this idea, especially at the top, right? Guard my tongue from evil and my lips from speaking deceit or guile or lies, right? Guard my mouth. This is something we see over and over again. Because when we succumb to temptation, right, it may be physical licentiousness, and that's the reference to a woman. This is a prayer that's intended by male sages for other male sages. But what he's saying is, let me not fall into sexual immorality. That's there. And let me not fall under, that wicked people, could attack me or mug me or rob me. That's there. But this idea of guarding myself from me, from my temptations, right? And specifically the temptation to utter falsehood or arrogance or to treat people badly, to be a jerk, right? So much of the ways in which we sin and cause trouble come out of our mouth, right? And so the sages are always encouraging us to guard the gates of our body, meaning our mouths, right? And watch what we say. Rabbi Yochanan, when he would study the book of Job, and he completed reading the book of Job, which he studied a lot, because it's the book of Job in the Bible where we really address the toughest question that everyone asks about: why do bad things happen to good people? Why do good things happen to bad people? That's what we study in the book of Job. When he would finish his study of the book of Job, Rabbi Yochanan would say, a person will ultimately die, and an animal will ultimately be slaughtered. And all are destined for death. Therefore, death itself is not a cause for great anguish. We all know it's coming. Why make a big deal out of it? It's coming to everybody. Rather, happy is he who grew up in Torah, whose labor is in Torah, who gives pleasure to his Creator. Is that beautiful? Happy is he who gives pleasure to his Creator, who grew up with a good name, and who took leave of the world with a good name. Such a person lived his life fully, and about him Solomon said, a good name is better than fine oil, and the day of death than the day of one's birth. So this is the whole idea that, look, we're all going to die. What matters is our deeds in our lifetime, right? How are we going to come to give pleasure to our Creator? Because we live like a mensch. What does it mean to live like a mensch, according to the sages? Number one, that you treat people like a mensch, right? How do you acquire a good name? Because you're a person who's known to be honest, a person who's known to care about others, to be kind, to be there for others. One who grows in wisdom and shares that wisdom. According to our sages, how are you going to grow in wisdom and have the opportunities to share wisdom? By learning Torah, right? For them, Torah is certainly going to be the secret to every path of wisdom. All wisdom emanates from the Torah for our sages. So you've got to make it your study. But it's not enough to study it. You got to enact the Torah that you learn. And when you think about a parent watching his children or her children, and one of the kids is helping the other kids and taking care of them, of course we cavil, right? That gives us joy to watch our kids be kind to each other. And likewise, our Creator gets so much joy out of watching us, all his creatures, be kind to each other. The sages of Yavne. Right? Who were the sages of Yavne? So this was after Jerusalem fell and the temple was destroyed in the year 70. It was Yochanan ben Zakkai who basically saved Judaism. And he said to the Roman general who sacked Jerusalem and then became emperor, actually, of Rome, the whole Roman Empire. And what he was able to save was, he said, okay, I'm not going to be able to save the temple and I can't save Jerusalem, but give me Yavne and its sages. Meaning, he moved the seat of learning, of Torah learning, to like this little town called Yavne, where they could continue to have a Torah academy. And now, critically, in that Torah academy in Yavne, they would study what it would mean to be Jews, to have Judaism, to be a Jewish people without a temple. And for the, several hundred years after that, as they were working out all of these laws, the whole Talmud, the Mishnah and the Talmud, they were working out how we're going to be a people of the book without a temple. Right? So the sages of the Yavna were wont to say, I who learn Torah am God's creature, and my counterpart who engages in other labor is God's creature. My work is in the city, and his work is in the field. I rise early for my work, and he rises early for his work. And just as he does not presume to perform my work, so I do not presume to perform his work. Lest you say, I engage in Torah study a lot, while he only engages in Torah study a little, so I am better than he. Lest you say that, it has already been taught, one who brings a substantial sacrifice and one who brings a meager sacrifice have equal merit, as long as he directs his heart toward heaven. Think how beautiful this is. These are the sages who are entrusted, right, with essentially recreating Judaism in the post-temple period. And their responsibility is so huge, right? They have to save Judaism, they have to save the Jewish people, because the whole thing could have fallen apart right then. All right, we don't have a temple. This was our bridge between heaven and earth, our bridge between ourselves and the Creator. Now we can no longer atone for our sins, etc. Judaism could have ended. So these are the sages that are entrusted with saving it, understanding it, redesigning it, working out every detail and questioning every detail. Their duty is so great, and they're the most revered people in the population. And they are saying, we're no better than the farmer, right? We're no better than a guy who's just, got his hands dirty and raising the crops, uneducated, not learning Torah, not much, very little. They could have, we could, if I'm just speaking in their voice, we the Torah sages could think ourselves high and mighty and much better than everybody else, and we could get very arrogant about that, and we must not do that, because we're doing our job and they're doing their job. And if we direct our hearts toward heaven and they direct their hearts toward heaven in doing their duty, and the farmer has huge duties in Israel, right? He's feeding the sages, first of all, but also there's all kinds of laws about how you grow the crop and when you grow the crop, and the fact that, you can't grow certain things, and you can't mix crops. There's all kinds of laws that are agricultural laws, and nobody's better than anyone else. So this idea that no matter how learned you are, no matter how educated you are, did you go to a great college? Do you have a great job? Do you have a big salary? You cannot let that stuff go to your head. That's what our sages are telling us. You got to treat every person with respect. And any God-loving, God-fearing person is your brother and sister. And you have to act accordingly. It's a beautiful prayer from the sages of Yavna. Abaya, this is on 114. Abaya was wont to say, one must always be shrewd and utilize every strategy in order to achieve fear of heaven and performance of mitzvahs. One must fulfill the verse, a soft answer turns away wrath. That's from Proverbs 15. And take steps to increase peace with one's brethren and with one's relatives. And with all people, even with a non-Jew in the marketplace, despite the fact that this person may be of no importance to me personally. I may have no relationships with him, and he does not know, and I don't know him at all. So that, right, a person must take care to speak softly. A soft answer turns away wrath, and increase peace, right, with our brothers and with strangers, so that he, the person who's learning this, will be loved above in God's eyes and pleasant below in the eyes of the people, and acceptable to all of God's creatures, right? Now, we sometimes have this idea that, well, some people are charming, some people are nice, some people have charisma, and they're well-liked by others. And I might say, well, but I'm kind of grumpy. That's not me. I just can't, I can't kiss people's butt, and I'm not going to be nice. I'm not going to say hello to strangers. I'm not going to smile. It's not me. It's for the other guys to be nice, not for me. I'm a grump. And the sages are saying, no, whatever your natural disposition is, if in fact you're somebody who just doesn't really like people, so that's your particular challenge to overcome that and be pleasant and find a way to be liked and connect with strangers and greet people with a smile. It is a Torah practice, a commanded practice to be nice, to be sweet, to greet people with a smile, to add peace into the day-to-day relationships and interactions we have with people. I've been saying it a lot in the last few weeks because it keeps coming up, this idea of greetings. And it comes up right now, the very next paragraph. Tangentially, the Gemara mentions that they said about Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, right, who saved Judaism and established the academy in Yavne, that no one ever preceded him in issuing a greeting, not even a stranger or a non-Jew in the marketplace, as Rabbi Yochanan would always greet him first. This is Rabban Yochanan, at that point, the most important person in the Jewish world, charged with taking Judaism into the future, has no airs about him, is not arrogant in any way, has a cheerful face and a smile and a greeting for everybody. And not only that, he greets people first before they ever have a chance to greet him. That's how important this idea of being friendly and having greetings for people. And if it's not your personality to be that way, then it's your special challenge to overcome that personality issue and make it a point to greet people. And so I'm asking right now for commitments in the comments. I will greet people. It's already nighttime, so maybe you're not going to see people tonight, but I will greet people tomorrow. I will say hello to people before they can say hello to me. I will say hello to strangers and say, good morning. It's nothing more, you don't have to get into conversations, you don't have to get forward, you don't have to do anything inappropriate. You just need to say good morning or hello or whatever's appropriate at that moment. I want to see commitments in the comments that, like Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, tomorrow, when I pass people that I know and that I don't know, I'm going to greet them friendly and even before they get a chance to greet me. Let's see some commitments in the comments. I will do that. Let's see it. I want you guys to write it in the comments. Okay. Now here's something interesting. The Gemara states, greater is the promise for the future made by the Holy One, blessed be He, to women than to men. As it is stated, rise up, women at ease. This is from Isaiah. Rise up, women at ease. Hear my voice. Confident daughters, listen to what I say. The sages are saying that women have a greater portion in this world and in the world to come. They are more beloved by God, a little bit more than men. Why? Perhaps because women are naturally a little bit more empathic, naturally a little bit more relationship oriented, naturally caring about, the feelings of people around them, and perhaps naturally going out of their way to issue these greetings. It's just a little bit more natural for women to do that. Also, in this world, right, in the ancient world, it was really the men who were studying and studying all the time, particularly the sages who are being addressed here. They're just full-time studying. How is that possible, right? How can they all study? They're not all rich, but they all have wives and daughters who make it possible for them to learn, right? The women who work very hard and who have a desire that these guys be free to learn all day long. And the women who do that for their husbands in that world not only have equal merit with their husbands, right? It's a partnership. And we already know, for example, that donors who enable Torah study have equal merit with the scholars who do the study. Right? If you enable Torah study through donations, then you have equal merit with the people who are learning. But women who enable Torah study, who enable men to study Torah, get more merit than the men who do that studying. And it says it right here. Rav said to Rabbi Chaya, by what virtue do women merit to receive this reward? Rabbi Chaya answered, they merit this reward from bringing their children to read the Torah in synagogue, and for sending their husbands to study Mishnah in the study hall, and for waiting for their husbands until they return from the study hall. And Rabbi Steinsaltz adds a note in the margin, this is in the Koren Talmud, adds, once the Gemara stated that women receive a greater reward than men, the question arises, by what virtue is their reward so great, especially considering the fact that they are not obligated in the mitzvah of Torah study? And the answer is that women too play a role in fulfillment of this mitzvah. They support and encourage their sons and husbands. And the sages said, one who causes others to perform a mitzvah is greater than the one who performs it himself. Not just enables him, causes him. Right? And we see that in families that we know in the very, very religious neighborhood in LA, where it's not just that women make it possible. It's that it's their greatest desire that their children go and learn and grow in Torah. We also live in a time where access to Torah study is, extremely available for women. And of course, they can engage in the Torah study and in the Talmud study, and we're doing that right here. But I think it's also this idea that women have a natural understanding of certain things that men have to struggle to learn, that women already have a gift in that way. At any rate, we'll see very often in our study in the Talmud that men and women have, equal opportunities, equal roles, but different roles. We're always going to be distinguishing men and women, young and old, this and that. I mean, the idea that we're all the same is just completely remote to Torah. It's foreign to Torah. We're not all the same. We're not better one than the other. We're just different. And these are some of the distinctions that we're learning about here. All right, so those are some teachings, in particular those personal prayers that I already shared at the top of the hour. If you're joining us late, this is a little show that you want to watch from the beginning, because we shared some of the personal prayers of the sages that are just gorgeous, spectacular, what to pray for. And it's kind of, some of their prayers have become a script that we recite now as a prayer, like the one that's added to the Shemona Esrei, guard my tongue from evil and my lips from speaking lies. Some of them have not become a sort of a script that we recite every day, but teach us the way that the sages address their relationship with God and prayed for themselves to overcome their own hurdles and challenges, and pray for the others around them, their community, etc. So beautiful. And I recommend, if you're not doing Daf Yomi, if you're not reading the entire Talmud with us, this one you should look up, Berachos 17. You can find it in Sefaria, because this page is just amazing. All right, that's sort of what I wanted to share tonight. It actually brings us to the end of chapter 2. And tomorrow we're going to get into page 18 of Berachos and start chapter 3. And then we're going to look at some other obstacles that come up when we seek to do the Shema prayer, right? Not that somebody interrupts us or that we interrupt our own prayer, that we space out, but other kinds of interruptions and obstacles, like what happens if, there's a dead body in the room, for example, or what happens if you're in a place where something unseemly is in front of you, or something is filthy, or you're in a bathroom, or you're in a place of filth, or you're dealing with tuma, which is ritual impurity. That's a preview of what is to come. But for today, I think our takeaway is just how important, how much respect, and by respect I mean the sages acknowledge how difficult it is to act like a mensch. They acknowledge that our own dark side, our own evil inclination, our own urge to become angry and short-tempered and impatient with other people, how strong that urge is. And if we just say, well, you know what, I'm just gonna resolve to be a nice guy. I haven't been nice enough. I've been a little bit too much of an angry boss, and I don't treat my employees well, and I'm just gonna do better. So that's gonna fail. Just saying you're going to do better is doomed to fail. Sages are saying that for us to actually improve our personal attributes and to become nicer and to treat people with more respect and to not become angry simply because our own will is thwarted, takes tremendous work, dedication, and just like a 12-stepper who says he's not going to overcome alcohol unless he gets the help of a higher power. He's not going to overcome narcotics without the help of a higher power. He's not going to overcome cigarette smoking without the help of a higher power. Likewise, we're not going to overcome big rage and small rage, impatience, these kind of difficulties that we encounter, the way we treat people and the way we get impatient just because our will is thwarted. We're not going to overcome that unless we get help from a higher power. And how do we get that help? By praying for it every day, right? Praying to be a person who's humble. When we say that we want our soul to be like dust to everyone, we're saying, I'm not going to be so high and mighty that just because I didn't get what I want, I got to the airport, I wanted to get on the plane, and the stewardess is telling me I have to wait, and maybe I'm not even going to get on this plane. Something changed for the airline. I have to wait to my next plane, and my impulse might be to yell at this poor woman who now has to deal with 100 angry passengers, because if I yell at her, maybe I'll get what I want. And what we're learning is no. Especially in that situation, you have to treat her with kindness. You have to empathize with what she's going through. You have to say, you know what, there's a reason why God didn't want me to get on this plane today. Why get angry about it? Maybe I can just calm down and discover the thing that's going to happen because I didn't get on the plane. Who knows? Might even save my life. Okay. Those are our takeaways. That's what we learn. I encourage you to go back and listen to this show in its entirety because of these teachings we shared of our sages. Sending you guys big love from the Upper West Side of Manhattan. I'm on a trip, taking my daughter to see some colleges. Who knows where she'll end up in a couple of years. Right now, we're just in the information gathering. It's a wonderful opportunity for me just to spend some time with my daughter, some father-daughter time. So I'm going to go back to that now and sending you guys big love. All the best.